Hey everyone, from OFTWOLANDS here. Today I want to talk about photography, which is not something that I do a lot on this channel. And I want to talk about one particular camera. This is the Hasselblad X2D. In this video, I want to discuss why this camera has rekindled my love and interest for photography, but has also been extremely useful and inspiring for me as a filmmaker. This is not a review, and this won't be me telling you to go and get an X2D. This will be just me explaining why it suits the type of work that I do and the way that I shoot. And also because this is YouTube, and talking about cameras and gear is always fun. Before I start, don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this one, and let's get into it. Disclaimer, this is not sponsored by Hasselblad, they don't even know that I'm making this video. However, this video is sponsored by Artlist. So first of all, what is the X2D? I won't go into too much detail, but essentially it is a digital medium format camera. And probably the craziest part and most talked about feature is the insane 100 megapixel sensor. But to me there are two factors that made me appreciate this camera as much as I do now. First of all, the image and colors. The X2D has the best colors and color rendition from a stills camera I've ever used, period. These 16-bit medium format images are simply stunning. Everything looks as it should be, and for someone like me that mainly shoots photographs in natural light, it is extremely important, of course. The other thing is the build quality and overall design. This is hands down the best camera I've ever used in terms of build quality and design. It is handmade and it really feels like it. It is very premium, and it should be, considering its price. I have used and owned multiple Canon and Fuji stills camera before this one, but this is my favorite by far. On top of all of that, you also get 7 stops of IBIS, a 5.7mm dot electronic viewfinder, and a 1TB SSD built in. Simply put, this camera is a beast. I will link the gear in the description in case you want to know more about it. Now I want to quickly mention how I got my hands on one and why I decided on the X2D. As you know, my main job is being a filmmaker and also a YouTuber, but I've actually been doing photography for years. I used to do it professionally, but as my filmmaking career evolved, I slowly stopped to the point that I didn't take or retouch any photos, even as a hobby, aside from some personal content. To be completely honest with you, I sort of lost my excitement for photography when I started filming with high-resolution cinema cameras a few years ago, as I couldn't reproduce the frames that I was taking in a stills format. I also fell in love with the aesthetic of 6K open-gate 3x2, and I have been trying ever since to find the equivalent in the stills world. So I started looking into medium format again. And after a bit of research, I found that the X2D would be the perfect camera for me. I also love the fact that it doesn't take videos, as I've always liked to separate the two. It is very rare for me to reach out to brands, as I am super selective with the people that I work with, but in this case I reached out to Hasselblad. After a few weeks and a few emails, I got in touch with them, and I was able to get the X2D with a 38V and a 75p as a loan for 5 months. And for the past 5 months, the X2D has been my main stills camera, and I absolutely love it, as it is very suited to my style and work. Now let me explain why, but before that, here's a quick word about today's sponsor, Artlist. If you don't know what Artlist is, it is a platform that I use for all of my music and SFX, whether it is for my documentary work or for my travel and YouTube content. As always, I wouldn't tell you guys to use something if I didn't use it myself. If you know me, I'm very particular with the sponsors on this channel. I don't have many, and I want to make sure that every time I share or push something, it is something that is genuinely beneficial for myself and could be for you as well. I've started using Artlist 7 years ago, and since then pretty much all of the music and SFX you've heard in my videos are from Artlist. The sound in my videos has always been extremely important to me. All you're about to hear in these short examples was created using music and SFX from Artlist. As a filmmaker, knowing that I can use music and SFX for all kinds of projects without having to worry about licenses is a huge plus. They recently also added many more features than just music and sound effects, such as a voiceover feature that can be extremely useful for solo and freelance filmmakers when it comes to documentary work, but also for YouTube content such as tech and gear videos. Artlist is also super easy to use. Over the years, I've created dozens of collections and I regularly put tracks aside for a project that might suit later on. They offer different plans depending on if you need music and SFX, footage and templates, or AI voiceover, or if you need all of it. And if you're interested, be sure to check out the link in the description to get an extra 2 months when you subscribe to Artlist for the yearly plan. Now here are 5 reasons why I love and use the X2D. As a freelance filmmaker, I film short documentaries, I create travel videos around the world, I also shoot short commercial and branded content, and I also capture content for footage licensing. And a lot of my work is actually captured with natural light and also outdoors. So when it comes to photography, I'm pretty much looking at getting a camera that can help me achieve what I can create with moving images. 1. It rekindled my love for photography. What I love the most about this camera is that it makes me excited about photography again. I've been taking photos for more than 20 years, and as with all creative endeavors, we all go through ups and downs when it comes to inspiration and actually doing it. As I just mentioned before, I had stopped taking proper photos a few years ago. I was just bored and uninspired. Gear should never be the main reason that we create content, but it can definitely be a massive factor and inspiration. That medium format is absolutely insane, and the images it can produce are beautiful. Of course, composition and skills are necessary to create a good image, but having near-perfect colors and being able to crop in a significant way goes a long way. I also love using the X2D, and I get excited to take photos again each time I grab it. For the past 5 months, I've taken the camera to the mountains, to Paris, to Iceland, and also on multiple smaller trips, either for work or personal, and I've had a lot of fun. And to be completely honest, I haven't used any of my Fuji or Canon cameras since then. Being inspired to take more photos has in turn inspired me to film more and capture or discover new places. For me, filmmaking and photography have always been linked, and it feels good to get this feeling back. It suits my style. I really think that medium format photography is the closest thing in terms of matching the quality and feel I'm able to get with my cinema cameras. The X2D is pretty much the perfect stills camera for me, from the build and image quality to the way that it's meant to be used. It is a slow camera and I love it. In terms of content, I have a very still approach to both my filmmaking and photography. I like to take my time and observe and create carefully crafted frames. And this camera is perfect for that. The menus are also very simple and the buttons layout very minimalist. To me, less is often more. This is why I also love my Blackmagic cameras. The emphasis is on the user experience and image quality. The X-Pen and native modes are also quite something and really remind me of certain ratios I use with my cinema cameras. And again, I really like the fact that it doesn't take videos, as I can properly focus solely on photography. BTS. The other major reason I love the X2D is to capture BTS photos during my video shoots. My wife, or myself, or friends have always taken BTS of my filmmaking projects, either for memories, for YouTube, or for the actual project. Plenty of cameras can be used for BTS shots, and my Fuji X100V and my iPhone have been very handy, but the X2D has 2 massive advantages: the colors and the sensor. What I mean is that I don't even need to retouch the photos coming out of the X2D, since they truly look beautiful and natural straight out of the camera. But the biggest advantage is the insane resolution and depth. For example, I can take one shot with a 38mm and get 2, 3 or even 4 photos out of it. There is so much detail and cropping opportunities. This is huge for me as a filmmaker and also YouTuber, since a lot of my BTS content is actually focused on the gear itself. For example, we used it in Iceland to take BTS of the Ursa 17K shoot, and it was extremely useful and handy. Travel and outdoor content. Another way I love to use this camera is for my travels. As you know, I travel quite a lot and I always take quite a bit of gear. To some people, that might seem like a large camera to take on trips, but for me, that is used to cinema cameras, it feels quite small and light, especially since I use it with prime lenses. I had it in Paris, for example, for a few days, and it was a great setup to explore and capture the city with. Since I'm also represented for my photography work by stills, being able to provide high-resolution images of my travels can definitely be a plus. And finally, it is such a beautiful piece of equipment. It might not be as pretty as my Fuji X100V, but it feels so much better in the hand, and also the build quality is way above in my opinion. Obviously, the look of a camera has nothing to do with its capacity and the photographs that you can take, but to me it definitely helps having a camera that looks like this, as it makes me want to use it even more. And of course you want it to be. Being a medium format handmade camera, it doesn't come cheap. At over $8,000 USD for the body, and around $2,000 to $4,000 for new lenses, it sure is an expensive piece of gear. This is my first go at medium format photography, and after a few months I can easily say that I'm definitely a fan, especially using the X2D. As I just said before, I really think that medium format photography is definitely the closest thing in terms of matching the quality and feel I'm able to get with my cinema cameras. It is never just about the gear of course, but in this case, the X2D plays a huge part, as it is just as much about the user experience as it is about the actual images. It truly is an impressive and fun piece of gear, and I still get excited each time I pick it up, even after nearly 5 months. Of course I had seen loads of content about the X2D online, but I was never too sure until I got my hands on it and started using it. The hype is real. That's it for me for today guys. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments if you have more questions and if you have tried medium format photography or if it is something that interests you. And as always, thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Also, feel free to check out my 2 ebooks, Freelance Documentary Filmmaking and Travel Cinematography, where you can find a streamlined but comprehensive overview from pre-production all the way to marketing, built on years of my own experience shooting short documentaries and travel videos around the world. And if you are interested, I'm also doing filmmaking mentoring sessions when you can ask me anything about a wide variety of topics.